All right, in this video we're going to practice trinomials in standard form. That means the lead coefficient is 1. We're going to start with x squared plus 4x plus 3. Don't forget, when you're factoring a standard trinomial, you're factoring it backwards to two binomials. What two binomials can you double distribute or FOIL to make this trinomial? So x squared factors out to be x times x. I always bring this first sign down and then multiply the two signs. Positive times positive makes positive, and that gives you the second sign. If they're the same signs, you'll be adding in the middle. If they're different signs, you will be subtracting in the middle. So these are same signs. They're both positives. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 3, but add to make 4. What two numbers multiply to make 3, but add to make 4? That would be 3 and 1. So we have x plus 3 times x plus 1. On number 2, x squared plus 7x plus 10. So x squared makes x times x. The first sign comes down. Positive times positive makes positive. Again, adding in the middle. Two numbers that multiply to make 10, but add to make 7 are 5 and 2. So x plus 5, x plus 2. On number 3, x squared is x times x. The first sign coming down. Multiply the two signs. Negative times positive makes negative. So again, we have same signs. They're just both negatives this time. No big deal. Two numbers that multiply to make 9, but add to make 6 would be 3 and 3. So x minus 3 times x minus 3. Of course, you should be pausing this video to check. You check by multiplying using distributive property. You should, when you multiply these two binomials, you should get this original expression back. So you should be checking all your factoring. Number 4. X squared the factors to make x times x. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs. Negative times positive makes negative. Same signs, meaning that we're going to find two numbers that multiply to make 12, but add to make 8. Well, there are a lot of numbers that multiply to make 12. Not a lot, but some. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Which ones add to make 8? That would be 2 times 6. And write the biggest one first. So we have x minus 6 times x minus 2. X squared minus 5x minus 24. So x squared is x times x. Bring the first sign down as negative. Negative times negative this time makes positive. So we have different signs this time, and that just means that when we put these two numbers in here, because they have different signs, they will subtract to make 5, not add. So two numbers that multiply to make 24, but subtract to make 5. And again, you can make a list. What numbers multiply to make 24? 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 6 times 4. Which ones subtract to make 5? 8 and 3. Making sure that you put the first sign here, so you always put the biggest of the two numbers here, because you need to be able to add these two numbers and get the negative 5. So negative 8, positive 3, make negative 5. X squared minus x minus 20. So x times x. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs together. Negative times negative makes positive. So again, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to make 20, but because they're different signs, they'll subtract to make, oh, what's the coefficient here? Don't forget, this is the negative 1. So what numbers multiply to make 20? 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 4 times 5, And that's it. Which ones will give you a negative 1 when you subtract them? Negative 5 and positive 4. Okay, x squared plus 3x minus 18. X times x. Bring down the first sign. Multiply the two signs together. Positive times negative makes negative. Different signs again. So we're still looking for two numbers that multiply to make 18. They will subtract to make 3. So what multiplies to make 18? 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. Which ones will subtract to make 3? Positive 6 and negative 3 will give you a positive 3 in the middle. When you multiply them, they give you negative 18. And number 8, x squared plus 6x minus 27. X times x, first sign comes down, multiply the signs, positive times negative makes negative. So again, different signs mean subtraction in the middle. What two numbers multiply to make 27 but subtract to make 6? There aren't a lot of numbers that multiply to make 27. So you should find them pretty quick. It's 9 times 3. All right, we just have more trinomial practice problems on this page. X squared minus 2x plus 1. X times x gives us x squared. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs. Negative times positive makes negative. So same signs. What two numbers multiply to make 1, add to make 2? Well, the only numbers that multiply to make 1 are 1 times 1, and yes, they will add to give you negative 2. Negative 1 plus negative 1 makes negative 2. All right, there's something wrong with this one right off the bat. Why is this 35 up here at the front? This is not standard form. It should be x squared plus something x term plus a constant term. So this is all in the wrong order. All you have to do is rearrange it. Bring this x squared up front, then next this negative 12x term, at the end plus 35. It is a positive 35, by the way. So now we can factor it. X times x. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs. Negative times positive makes negative. Same sign. So what two numbers multiply to make 35, but add to make 12? 7 times 5. All right, I did want to mention, if I am going quickly, it's because I'm good at multiplication. It's perfectly fine if it takes you a little bit more time to think about factors. Just pause the video, think about them, and then play the video and see if you got them right. It's perfectly fine. So, x squared plus 23x minus 50. X squared is x times x. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs together. Positive times negative makes negative. We have different signs, so we're going to be subtracting in the middle. Factors of 50 that subtract to make 23. If you need to make a list on the side, that'd be 1 times 50, 2 times 25, 5 times 10. Those are the factors of 50. Which ones will subtract to make 23? Looks like 2 times 25. Make sure you write the biggest one first, because when you add them, they have to come out to be a positive 23. X squared plus 7x minus 12. Put your binomials in. X squared is x times x. Bring down the first sign. Positive times negative is negative. So we have different signs. So we're looking for two numbers that will multiply to make 12, but since they're different signs, they will have to subtract to make 7. And we can make a list. What numbers multiply to make 12? 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Now, initially, it looks like the 3 and the 4 will give you 7. But when I put them in here, and I check what actually happens here, I have x squared minus 3x plus 4x minus 12. Because these are different signs, I don't get the 7. I actually only get 1x. I get x squared plus 1x, and I get a negative 12 on the end, which is fine. That's what it's supposed to be. But why didn't I get the 7? Well, because the only way to get 7 from 3 and 4 is to add them, not subtract. And for them to be added, they will have to be the same sign. So did I mess up the signs? Okay, I brought the first sign down, and then I multiplied. Positive times negative makes negative. Okay, I didn't mess the signs up. The only way to get a negative 12 is to have different signs. If I make them both positive here, I'll get a positive 7 in the middle, but I'll get a positive 12 on the end. Turns out, you guys, that I don't know if the author did this on purpose. This trinomial cannot be factored because the signs are not consistent. We call this a prime trinomial. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not, but that's what it turns out to be. All right, on number 13, x squared plus 27x plus 72. So x squared is x times x. Bring the first sign down. Multiply the two signs together. Positive times positive makes positive. Okay, well that makes it easy. Everything's being added. So factors of 72, two numbers that multiply make 72 and add to make 27. All right, this is a little bit challenging just because the numbers are kind of big. So make a list. What multiplies to make 72? 1 times 72, 2 times 36, 3 times 24. Oh, there it is, right there. 3 times 24. Those can add to make 27. So 24 and 3. Number 14, x squared minus 9x minus 36. So x times x. Bring down the first sign. Multiply the two signs. Negative times negative makes positive. And again, we're subtracting. So we're looking for two numbers that will multiply to make 36, but subtract to make 9. So let's write them down. 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, 6 times 6. Those are the factors of 36. Well, which ones will subtract to make 9? When I look through the list, it looks like 3 times 12. Those subtract to make 9, but write the biggest one first, because when you add them, negative 12 and positive 3 make negative 9. If you write them the other way, you'll have a sign wrong in the middle. All right, on number 15, we have a situation here similar to the lesson with the negative sign on the lead coefficient. We can't factor trinomials with this negative sign on the beginning, so we'll factor out the negative as a GCF. So we'll factor out negative 1. Now, you don't have to write the 1. You could just write the negative sign if you want. I'm writing the 1 just so that you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm factoring out a negative 1. That just changes the signs. So we have x squared plus 7x minus 8. Factoring out negative 1 just changes signs. That negative 1 doesn't go away. It's going to be there in your original answer. You can just write it as a negative sign, and then we're going to factor the trinomial that's left here in the parentheses. So x squared is x times x. Bring down the first sign, positive. Multiply the two signs together. Positive times negative makes negative. So factors of 8 that subtract to make 7. What are the factors of 8? 1 times 8. 2 times 4, that's it. Which ones will subtract to make 7? 1 and 8. So we're going to write the biggest one first. So negative x plus 8 times x minus 1. Okay, factor 3x squared minus 3x minus 18. And again, similar to the one in the lesson, we have a coefficient here that we really haven't learned how to deal with. We are going to, in the next lesson, figure out what to do here. But this is a best case scenario where this 3 is common. All of these terms are divisible by 3. So let's get the 3 off as a GCF. Just divide every term by 3. That leaves us with x squared minus x minus 6. And now we can just factor this trinomial. Now the GCF doesn't go away. It's still there, but you don't have to think about it anymore. You're just factoring your trinomial. So bring down the first sign, multiply the two signs, negative times negative makes positive. So we're looking for factors of 6 that subtract to make 1. What are the factors of 6? 1 times 6, 2 times 3, and those are the ones that will subtract to make 1. Write the biggest one first. So 3 times x minus 3 times x plus 1.